Good evening, and welcome to WCAT's Town of Wakefield election night coverage. My name is Bill Carroll, and with me on our panel tonight, before I get to the panel, I again want to thank WCAT. They do a fabulous job. Allie Houghton is our producer tonight. Ryan Boyd and his staff do a fabulous job of putting this together to inform and enlighten our community. And I don't know if you, when you're out of town, just for kicks, tune in another cable TV show, because you'll see that we are gifted, if you will, here in Wakefield to have WCAT. With me tonight, she told me I could say this, is my longtime sidekick, although actually I'm the sidekick, is almost former town councilor Ann McGonigle Santos. I always like to say the Irish name in the middle. Yep. Hello, Ann. How are you?
Good, Bill. How are you?
Yeah,
Good to be back.
Yeah, we'll get going here. And we have a new panelist, but not new to Ann and I.
Right.
Right. It is Tarae Howell, who is a member of the Finance Committee, who Ann and I have kidnapped on several occasions to socialize. Is that a fair statement? Yes.
It's a pleasure to be here tonight.
Yeah, he's smarter than both of us. And so anyway, and we got, Tarae is committed to the community, so we guilt tripped him into doing this tonight. Hello, Tarae. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Yeah, he's of course done all his homework, so he's raring to go here, and he's on FinCom, so he knows a lot of stuff.
I just heard turnout was 3,200 at 7:30.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah.
Pretty strong.
Good numbers. Yeah. That's a pretty good number.
It was busy. I was there right a little after 5, and it was busy. Who were the people with the signs about something that wasn't candidates? Yeah, I didn't get it. I'm sorry, I didn't mean your message wasn't strong. It was drizzling, and I needed to get inside.
I think they are paraprofessionals in the school systems. And, it's a statewide movement.
All right, so let's run through the ballot quickly, okay? We've got 2 contested races tonight, and they should be interesting. Some nights in the past, Ann and I talk about drumming up some sort of drama when we know it's going to be bing, bang, bang. But I don't think that's the case in either race tonight. You agree?
I absolutely agree.
We were discussing
I can't
earlier.
predict it.
Yeah. So we'll get to town council and school committee. Okay, town treasurer. What's that guy, McCarthy? Is he running again? Yeah, John, the legend and the icon, he will again become our town treasurer, and he does a fabulous job. On the municipal gas and light, 2 candidates for 2 spots. Tom Betcher, who I always screw up his name even when I meet him, and Phil Kersey, both of whom do a great job on the, so they're in. Board of Assessors, Brian Donegan. Library Trustees, Chris Barrett, Jeff Quinn, and Jacqueline Natali. The Planning Board, unopposed, is James Charles Hogan. Board of Health, Elaine Silva. We'll talk about that later. Ann used to be on the Board of Health. Kevin Lopes, who is the eternal constable, as we say, and on the Housing Authority, Sarah Fowler. Those, congratulations to them. They win unopposed, and as usual, as corny as it sounds, anybody who puts in the time and effort to serve this community deserves, it's not easy, particularly if you get yourself in the crosshairs over some issues, which we'll discuss later. Now, school committee. Tommy Markham, who's been there for a long time, should I say. Amy Wall, Eileen Colleran, Kevin Fontanella, Alex Makarowitz. Did I do that correctly?
Correct.
Carmen Sorrentino, and Greg Spry for school committee. 3 positions there, so that will be an interesting race. And town council, 3 out of 4. Jonathan Chines, Mike McLean, Caitlin Dolan, and Bob Vincent. I have to say, I said to folks after the debate the other night, the 4 folks running for town council are all impressive and qualified. There have been,
absolutely.
Yeah, we were discussing there. Some years there's some, shall we politely say, fringe candidates, and but these we can't go wrong with any of these 4 folks. That's it. So What are your thoughts, Ann?
On town council?
On anything.
On any of them.
Let's kick it off here. Come on.
I agree with you on town council. I think the town council is going to be in good hands no matter who wins. And in the past, we'd have some quirky characters.
Yes.
So I think they all bring something to the table. They're all a little bit different. Most of them have been volunteers in town and been committed to town for several years. I don't know as much about Kate Dolan, but I know the other three men certainly have. So that's going to be very interesting. And I always wonder, does having one woman on the ballot make a difference? Does some folks give the woman a vote because of that? Where they're losing a woman on the town council. So that's just interesting.
That would be you.
That would be me.
Okay.
Yep, losing me. Losing, And then school committee, man, that's an interesting one.
School committee is going to be something. Town council, what do you think?
I mean, I agree with both of you. I think they were, a list of very strong candidates. The only person that I've known previously is Jonathan Chine. So the other three candidates I did not know. And to be honest with you, I went through the debate, and actually, because each candidate had really strong ideas, it actually made my final decision very difficult, which I didn't decide until last night. So I will say that the fact that it made the decision difficult for me actually demonstrated the strength of these candidates.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree with that. It was. Usually you're like, bang, bang, bang.
Yeah.
And this was like,
I was like,
everybody, it brings a lot of strong attributes to the table.
And it was civil. It wasn't,
exactly.
The last debate was not so civil.
It was, you think?
Yeah. But this one was great.
This
which
was
is what you
great,
need.
and it was such an exchange of quality ideas, and they're all bright, and it was really great. What about school committee? There's some diverse views in the school committee.
Yeah, I mean, my perspective is, again, most of the candidates that were running, I did not know previously, other than Tom Markham. But I thought that, there were several candidates, obviously, who had ideas and views that, aligned with my own. So I was able to find people that I gravitated towards naturally. But, there were obviously some viewpoints that just did not, allude to me. And that's fine. That's the purpose of, an election process. But I do think that, the town has the opportunity to pick three strong candidates to be on the committee. And I'm hoping, obviously, for a good turnout.
You know what I thought? There were people that I may not agree with policy-wise, but they were competent and
exactly.
And it sounds sort of basic, but they were all great candidates. You know what I mean? Everybody in school committee was into being a school committee person. You know what I mean? I know that sounds
very
corny.
Passionate.
Yeah, exactly.
You can see the
exactly.
passion.
So I thought, well, I wouldn't do that, but you're not. You're into that, and you've given it some thought, and it was all well thought. They were all really, they were able to explain why they wanted certain things rather than just sort of, well, here's what I want to do. So anyway.
And I think that where sometimes I falter is if there's one issue that's driving you to run, I think that can be problematic sometimes. Because the school committee is our biggest budget. The school committee affects so many people deeply and profoundly in town. And, it's even like the logo. If that's the only thing you were worried about, how about curriculum? How about funding new programs? So I think it's going to be interesting because I do think citizens see that they don't necessarily want to just hear that someone is, coming out of a pandemic. Masks was a big deal. Kind of in the
logo.
past.
What are you talking about? I
hadn't
heard anything about this. What about this logo thing? Was that an issue?
That was the hot button issue last year.
Yeah.
Well, I was still lingering this year, I have to say. So.
But I think that the single issues, people want to hear more, especially when you're dealing with the education.
The school system.
Agreed. Let me ask you this: the school committee is a policy making, essentially, but it does then, and that's one big thing, but it does also have a big say over the budget. And speaking of which, what subcommittee are you on in the?
Well, I'm not
FinCom.
on FinCom. I'm not on the school subcommittee yet. We'll hopefully, at some point in the future. I'm part of the town hall
That's a
subcommittee.
choice subcommittee to get
Yes.
on. That's where all the
That's a hint
bucks
to
are.
the
Yeah,
chairman.
That's a big, right.
Town hall and the library, but obviously, it's because the school system is the largest part of the Wakefield budget.
Yep.
Like, the budget items are highly debated every year by the finance committee, and I do think there were several candidates I did notice mentioned. I think Alex Markowitz talked about the budget specifically. Tom Markham referred to negotiating contracts. So that obviously, me as a FinCom member, that that drew me and it got my attention because the reality is like it's important to spend money on education, but I also wanted to see that the candidates understood that this is going to be a major component of their job to manage a massive budget.
Right.
And to deal with the process of negotiating with the departments and also with FinCom.
In building a new high school.
Exactly.
I mean,
Well,
that's on the
right,
horizon.
yeah,
The
that's,
school committee is going to be incredibly powerful for that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it hopefully, by the way, if you're out there watching, come on down. You don't want to hear us talk all night. Come on down. Win, lose, or draw.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I meant. No, anybody come down. We'll just throw you
interview
on here.
anybody.
Yeah, right. Okay, get somebody down here. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So yeah, this will be. It will be interesting. It'll be interesting to see.
And I think what's tricky, not so much for town council, but I don't know, because some of the candidates kept things a little close to their vests, so I'm not sure.
On town council.
On town council, yeah.
School committee, not so.
No, did not keep things,
No.
wore them right outside their vests.
Yeah.
But you have to, I've always been a fan of, you can disagree passionately, but you have to recognize you're part of a team within
Yes.
that committee. And you have to compromise, and there's typically, there's very few non-negotiables that you should have. So it's going to be interesting for folks who are so passionate, sincerely passionate about what they believe in, if it clashes a little bit with others, because that's what you learn on a committee.
I guess it's supposed to clash. I think the idea is that you engage in respectful discourse and also come with an open mind. Be a person that's willing to take different perspectives and to
change your mind.
and to potentially change your mind, and that's okay. Those are things that I think is a strong attribute of a leader.
Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. And in today's climate, it's this idea that you have to be diametrically opposed.
Exactly.
That's what I
Or not
found.
like each other even.
Yeah, right.
That's
Well,
what's-
just be not nice and,
Right.
and be mad and stuff. That's what I found so fascinating and refreshing about the town council debate.
Yeah.
It was so such an exchange of ideas, and like we opened with, 4 bright and qualified candidates. So, yeah. All right, what else can we talk about to kill some time till we get some numbers?
Well, so
I'm kidding.
I always find it fascinating, and this has no substance at all, but lawn signs. I find
Oh, there we go. Lawn signs.
I do.
My favorite topic.
But it's fun to see groupings, and typically,
Yes.
like, okay, they all go together. But then sometimes there'll be one popped in that's not like the others. So
Except on Fred Rich's lawn.
Right,
You know
well,
where
yeah,
his
no,
is,
yep.
right, yeah.
But I always find that really interesting to,
So one year we couldn't get numbers and we couldn't get candidates, and we talked about lawn signs ad nauseum. It's become a cliche down here for filler.
Yeah.
So, but that is, you're right.
It's just fun
You're
to
right.
see.
You will see.
They are persuasive. I mean, I will say as a newer resident, I've been living in Wakefield since 2016. The first few years in town, when I didn't know as many people, I've relied heavily. I mean, not heavily, but lawn signs was a major part. Like,
Right.
you get a sense of who your neighbors are. You'll see the groupings.
Right.
You may go on Facebook and look up information about the candidates, but they're big. And often, if I didn't see lawn signs of a candidate and their name appeared on the ballot, it's like I didn't know anything about them, so I was highly unlikely that I would vote for you. So I think in a small town like Wakefield, I mean, I know obviously there are significant costs, but they do matter for residents that are going to vote but are not as actively involved where they would know a lot about candidates.
Oh, I think they're persuasive.
Very persuasive,
And I think you're right.
Yeah.
Oh wait, that sign is with that sign,
Yes.
so that person
Yeah.
means
So you
that.
just-
yeah,
right. I agree with that.
Yeah.
That's
And you even will hear, and I won't use any names, but you'll hear a candidate say, "Oh, geez, my sign was next to this other person's sign with opposing views." Like, oh. And I've always said, "Well, that's great, though."
Yeah.
I think that shows, that shows a willingness to work with each other.
Since I've only learned to text recently, I'll ask you two this.
Yeah.
What impact did social media have? I've heard that social media stuff. Yeah, I'm not on anything. I'm hiding. I don't want anyone to find me. But what impact does that have in today's modern world?
I can jump in. So I got off it because it was, I keep saying this, it was sucking my soul dry. I got off Facebook probably 2 years ago.
Right.
I just couldn't take it.
I remember when you told me that.
I could not take the toxicity. I could not take the nastiness. And some of it was against me personally. It was
Town
nonsensical.
Councilor,
Yeah, exactly. They talk about bribes. I mean, it's just crazy what people talk about.
That was, that bribe stuff was
ridiculous.
Please.
But
really?
So I peek here and there, but what concerns me is I think it can be a bit of a mob mentality. So if someone has a criticizing comment, then a lot of people jump in, and that's what I'm not a fan of, because oftentimes some of the comments aren't based on facts. And people, like, when we were younger, Bill, it was, if it's printed in the paper, you believed it.
Yep.
Well, now if it's on social media, you believe it, which is just not the case. It's much easier to float something out there. So I think it is persuasive, but I also think people sometimes go a little bit too far, because then I'll hear comments about, "Oh my gosh, did you see what they wrote? Did you see what they posted?" So I think it's a double-edged sword. I think it can hurt a candidate.
Yeah, but I think for the candidates themselves, I think candidates that effectively used social media, it actually elevated their exposure to residents.
Like, but no, it's true.
I don't read the item. I don't read the paper. So for me,
I read the item every time.
It's not a part of
item.
So for me, one of the first places that I'm going to go is the internet for information about a candidate, and those candidates that not only had a political page for their campaign, but also posted frequently about issues that might have come before the town council at that time, helped me sort of gain data points to decide as to who I was going to vote for. There are some candidates that I could find no social media presence. So of course, I'm relying on the little bits of information I may have from the debate, which, depending upon who it is, it may not be enough. So I do think for the candidates themselves, it can be effective. But I agree with Ann. Some of the other political discourse that happens on social media can sometimes hurt candidates.
Right. But
Tarae, when you get older, you're going to have to start reading the items so you don't miss a wake. That's what's going to have to happen. I'm sorry, I missed a wake. I didn't know. You got to get the item. That's all I'm saying. Sorry.
But I think, when I was a candidate, I had a page because I knew that was one. There were different ways.
Exactly.
That was a source where people could see your views. And so, would you go to candidates' pages, their Facebook pages, and see their postings? Yeah, I think you get a lot from that.
Yeah, absolutely. Both their personal page, if it's public, and also their candidate page. Because again, you have limited time, but you can get data points from whatever's on their social media page. So,
speaking of the item, maybe I don't know, but I thought there were a lot more letters this year. You know what I mean?
Well, but it was interesting.
there were like 4 or 5, every page, and then off into the.
The item didn't ask candidates to submit a statement this year.
Some submitted statements. So.
Right, but no, I'm sorry. The item didn't ask questions.
Oh, right, okay.
Of the candidates, which I thought I was curious about. But there was a lot of letters.
A lot of letters.
Yeah.
That's one of the highlights of the item is when election rolls around and the letters. It's we'll leave it at that. But I just thought there were a lot this year, and I also saw what I also thought was a lot of the candidates wrote a bunch of letters about themselves.
Yeah. And there's a limit, I think.
Huh?
I think there's a limit.
Is there how many letters you can write about yourself?
Yep.
Oh.
But I also wonder. So look at the school committee. How many? There's 7 running.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3.
7,
And
yeah.
then, so you have 11 candidates.
Yeah.
So I think that just the
that's
numbers
true.
generated a lot of.
You know, it's interesting. No other contests. No other contests this year. I mean,
So this is a question I have. I should know this. The constable that has a 1-year term with no one who ran for it, does any write-in win? Like,
That's a good question.
if one person wrote their name
I
in?
don't know.
I assume
You know my favorite
probably.
write. You know my favorite write-in story was I used to have to run every single year, and before mercifully they moved it to 3, and so I only have to stand in front of the post office every 3 years, and then farmland for a little while, but to get nomination papers. But I think it was my 3rd or 4th year. Who was the clerk before Mary Kay Galvin? What was her name? She was a lovely woman.
Oh, I don't remember.
Oh, remember her name? And so one time I
these
came
numbers.
down, it was like my 3rd or 4th year, and I came down to sign in, and they were laughing, and she said, "Oh, by the way, this one," and she said, "There's one guy who got a lot of write-in votes." And I said, "Really? Who was that?" And she said, "Jerry Garcia." I was like, okay. I probably know 20 people who wrote that in. It was like, yeah, Jerry Garcia got got the most write-in votes for town moderator one year. He didn't even know he was running. So, do we have any numbers yet? Anybody?
We have some early numbers.
Oh, are you going to text them to Ryan so we can get them up on the
yes,
board?
sorry.
Yeah.
These are
we're
like
just
scribbled
talking
in.
here. We'll wait. Well, okay, hold on a second.
Hold on.
We're dropping any pretense that somebody's not talking in my ear and we're listening to stuff and all that because it always seems so fake. So we're trying to use numbers this year as quick as we can, and so you're going to send those to Ryan so we can get them up on the board
They're
here.
super preliminary numbers.
Well, let's have something that's
we have
better.
something to talk about. Yes.
Come on, start some
And I
excitement.
think it looks like only precincts 1 and 2.
Okay. So send those to Ryan and he can
I
get
just
them up
did.
there. Okay. All right. We got Amy Wall here, and we're going to bring her in.
Oh,
And
Amy's here. Okay.
Amy's here. We're going to grill her.
Oh, she's smart, coming in before they come out.
Yeah. Amy Wall.
Hey, Amy.
Oh, you dressed.
I dressed.
dressed for
I
the-
said you guys are all looking nice, but I was standing outside for 12 hours in the rain. So.
Oh, you look
Ah, well,
You
there
look
you go.
good.
Right.
How are
Hi.
you guys? Hi.
How are you?
Good.
How was it?
It was good. I wish it was a better weather day, but
Right.
I feel
Do you
good.
have any numbers?
Not yet.
Oh, so
I didn't
you
go. I
don't
came right
know.
here. I went
Good for you.
home.
Thank
I dried
you.
off, and I came right
Thank
here.
you.
You're welcome.
And put on another sweatshirt.
Another sweatshirt.
All
Yeah,
right, that's good.
exactly.
So, okay, I always ask,
Yes.
it's always ask this every year, first question, and you can't say to serve the community. Oh, yeah, duh,
Yeah,
that's what
right,
everyone's
yeah.
doing.
'Cause I'm brain
Why'd
dead,
you
no.
run for school committee?
I care a lot. Well, obviously, I have 2 kids in the system, so that's one of the main reasons. I want to make sure that I am a voice for that. I feel sometimes there's a lack of transparency that goes on, and the communication isn't always.
What do you mean by that?
What do I mean by
Transparency
that?
it's become a little buzzword the last 3 or 4 years
Yep.
in this town, and it seems to be coded, if you will.
Coded. Oh, okay.
Yeah, you know what I mean. It's got a
Okay.
little, what do you mean by transparency? What do you mean?
I feel like this past year, it being my first year, so maybe this is how things have been, maybe this isn't how things have been, I don't know. I feel like some things that happen in the schools I find out through my kids and other
Okay.
people's kids before. So the lack of communication, I think, has been a big thing that also.
Okay.
So it's something that, we don't need to be a part of every single thing that goes on every day. I understand that. But there are this past year has been a great example of bigger issues that have happened and that I've found out through children as opposed to adults. And that doesn't sit well with me. I'd like to find out, from people that are actually involved in the situation
Yeah.
so we can get a handle on things and communicate it out to the public.
Is there a way to improve that, sort of set up a protocol, if that's the word, to say, hey, how many times a month do you guys meet?
As a regular meeting or?
Yeah.
As a regular meeting, it's
Every
supposed to be 2, but we've been
Twice
meeting
a
a lot
month.
more
Yeah.
the past year.
Okay, so
yeah.
should there be some protocol where, like some sort of method where you're providing information, not in a we got to do this. Just here's what's happening. Here's what's happening. Here's what's happening. Is
I've
that
been-
what you're talking about?
That's exactly what I'm talking about. I've been
Okay.
pushing for that, so I said, maybe there's some type of policy that can be put in place that we can say, if X happens, this is the chain of commands. If you work for corporate America, the boss finds out something, sends it to the managers, he sends it to his subordinates, something like that, I think
Okay.
would be helpful.
Why else you run?
Why else do I
Yeah.
run? Because,
follow up with
nothing
that.
better to do. No, I mean, I've been in this town my whole life. I'm third generation, and I just, I care deeply about my community, and I want to be a strong voice and make sure that, like-minded people are having, not even like-minded people, but people that feel like their voices are being, that they're not getting their voice out, that I can act as a voice for them.
Okay, let's get to the elephant in the room for
Yes.
all of school committee. How do you think the high school process is going, and how do you think funding? What are your thoughts on the funding?
So I think that it's going along good. We know the people that have been following it. I know there's people that are interested in it, but maybe don't know the whole procedure of everything, the different steps that we have to go through. I think it's been going smoothly. I was part of the group, I guess you'd say, that helped pick the SMMA. So that was nice to be a part of, I felt that my zoning board background helped me out with that.
Sure.
So that was good. I think it's going smoothly. I think the next, obviously, big hurdle is the money.
Yep.
We're gonna have to see what the town
Yeah.
is gonna do.
I'm on the board of CAT. They roped me in again. And so we've been sort of involved in where we're going to be and how this works. But it's amazing how structured and sort of stage by stage it is. I mean, I understand that. I mean, I was involved years ago in legislation, stuff like that. But it's just, the process itself is fascinating, how it's all defined. It's, I think even more so than the Galvin. You know what I mean? I think it's they've really fine-tuned, not so much Wakefield, but the state board thingy there.
MSBA.
Yeah, right, that thing.
That
Yeah, well,
Those guys,
I can't remember those letters.
Yeah,
No, but
there's
I mean,
letters for everybody, yeah.
it's sort of, you get to, what they want, what you're getting, and that, you know what I mean? In
Yeah.
other words, it gives you an opportunity to satisfy what their requirements, and
Right.
that puts some structure and doesn't leave it all so, let's do this,
Right, yeah. I wasn't a part of the Galvin
We might have numbers.
committee. Oh, nice. But it was, I know it was a great process that went, it was, people were very involved in it.
And psychotically organized.
Very, yes.
I
Yes.
know
parent
some of the
group,
women.
Oh, the Galvin? Oh,
galvanized group.
that was
It has to be the same
amazing.
thing.
It has to be, yeah.
It has to
Yeah,
be.
that was
Convince
just-
people that we need this, the town needs it.
Yeah.
It's,
Yeah,
Well, a lot
that
of
was
things-
amazing, the Galvin,
Oh.
that whole,
Well, that parent group that was put together was unbelievable.
Yeah.
I mean, they wanted it and they went out and got
Well, and
it.
then- We
little
had
plug, the
lots.
meeting's tomorrow night.
Yes.
There's another meeting tomorrow night, which will
Right.
be on WCAT.
Yeah, live and in
Always
studio.
plugging CAT.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah, one of the things that I've heard a lot on the campaign trail is people saying, I don't have kids anymore, my kids are all grown. And one of the things that, conversations we were having was, but your tax dollars are still paying for it, and that's affecting everybody. So you want to make sure you have a voice in what goes on, just because.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
a good school system makes your
Makes it better
property
town.
value go up.
Exactly.
Right. That's people. I remember
I think they forget
we
that.
ran into that years ago on this show, and somebody was like, I was like, wait a minute, good school system, your property goes up.
Yeah.
So
And
It's
also
a win-win.
Good school system, good youth, good
Exactly.
Yeah,
young
well,
people.
that-
like,
that
it's
too.
just,
I was
that
just
silly
doing the
stuff,
economy
education.
stupid
But
thing.
it's,
So,
yeah.
James Carville. So,
Where's the
Questions?
after party?
Public kitchen.
Okay.
Yeah.
oh really?
That's where I'm going.
Ann's
Yeah.
making me go to public kitchen.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she is. She's telling me
Okay,
that.
well, I'll
She's
see
staying
you down
out
there.
all
Hopefully
night.
I'll be rejoicing.
She's
Yeah.
taking the red eye to L.A.
Oh, lucky you.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, good.
Not the red eye, but a flight to LA
Oh,
tomorrow.
okay.
that was a joke.
Yeah.
Oh.
Red eye.
I took
did
it once.
So yeah. So, well, what else? What else? What besides the school? What do you think is the next biggest issue you guys are going to have to deal with if you're elected again?
If I'm elected again.
Yeah.
I think just moving forward, I mean, I know Winchester just they're going back to masks, so I think that that's probably something that's potentially on the horizon. We don't know, obviously, but with other districts doing that, who knows what could happen. There's that, the high school, obviously, you said, and just making sure the kids are catching up with their schooling.
Right.
They lost so much school
Yeah.
in the past 2 years that we
Yeah.
have to make sure that these kids are getting what they need.
Right.
You know, we need to make sure that, you know, we have amazing teachers in this town, which we're so fortunate to have. And, you know, they go above and beyond all the time.
Right.
And, you know, we see that, I see
Right.
that. And it's just, I think that, you know, having these kids in the classroom, making sure that the teachers are
Absolutely.
absolutely, you know, ready to teach and get them back where they
I think
where they
one
need
of
to be.
one of the things, hopefully there's going to be a deep dive post-pandemic to say like what worked, what didn't.
Right.
One of the things that didn't work was remote learning.
Right.
I mean, some parents will say it worked great for my kid, but as an educator myself,
Yeah.
you cannot, especially with little kids, you cannot overcome
No.
not being in class and not engaging. And I have a son who's in college, and
Yeah.
boy, that was a year and a half of
Oh.
kind of lost
I bet, yeah.
education.
Yeah.
So it's as good as the teachers are, as
Yeah.
good as the technology, it does not.
Doesn't work for everybody.
It doesn't work for
I
everybody.
kind of like working from home.
I'm sure, yeah.
I like having days from home.
Jamie Pants, it was great.
You're,
It
you're
was
not
great.
in school though.
Yeah, right, exactly. I know,
Well,
I
other
mean,
than changing, you know, obviously moving from remote learning to in person, what other things do you think that, you know, the school system can do to address learning loss? Because that was a big thing that most of the candidates talked
Yeah.
about, and I think we all recognize is a key issue. So,
Right.
do you have any ideas as to other things that can be done?
I mean, I think making sure, one of the big things that I am passionate about is the mental health.
Oh yeah.
So that, I know that we're working on getting some more adjustment counselors right now for next year. So I think that taking that load off of
Teachers.
the teachers for one, the guidance counselors.
Oh yeah.
You know, having that extra person that's kind of trained in that is going to be helping with the mental side of it. And I think when we can focus on getting that, it's going to also, it's not going to fix everything, obviously.
Yep.
This, you know, is not going to happen overnight, but I think that that's going to alleviate some of the stress on the teachers, and we can focus on, you know, here's your math lesson.
Yes,
We don't have
yeah.
to worry about, you know, X, Y, and Z.
Right.
Here's, you know, algebra. Here's whatever it is, you know, and that's
yeah.
what they can focus on,
Yeah.
so.
Great. Thank you.
Hey,
Welcome.
thanks for coming down.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Thank you
As
guys for
always.
having us.
coming back.
Yes.
Oh my God.
And as we say all the time, or as I say, well, we say, but
Yeah.
as corny as it is, you threw your hat ring. And
I
that's
did,
to
yes.
be admired.
And
Thank
thank
you.
you.
That's
Sure.
always
Yeah,
to be
well, thank you
admired.
for you. Yeah, I was
Yes.
going to say, yes, thank you for you, and I know that,
Thanks, Amy.
you know, the terms are up soon,
Oh.
and, you know,
Why
you've done a
not?
great job,
Oh,
and
thanks so
thank you
much.
for
Why
for
not?
supporting
Likewise.
the community. I appreciate it. So,
Absolutely. Well, the best of luck.
thank you.
We'll-
You too, yes,
All
and I
right.
will see you around.
Absolutely.
Okay,
All right,
throw
take
some
care.
up there.
Yes,
Amy,
yeah.
thank you.
Oh,
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Yes, thank you,
Hey,
guys.
See you in a little while.
All right, I'll see you. I'll
right.
save your seat.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, really? Oh. Okay, we're going to do numbers first and then gas and light. Okay. So we got some numbers coming up on the screen.
Are they final numbers?
I don't, are they final or just some preliminary numbers? Oh, wow. Okay, these are final to the best we know. That's pretty good, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, why not, you know? All right, we're waiting for those to come up. Yeah. So, interesting. Just
Yeah.
had some interesting, okay, school committee. What do we got here? Colleran?
We have Tom Markham, Kevin Fontanella, and Eileen Colleran.
Colleran, yeah.
Wow, wow, look at that, huh?
With Amy, a very close.
Very close.
Yeah, very close. Wow. Those are some interesting numbers.
Those are
Yeah.
really interesting numbers, and
Yeah.
it tells you who came out.
Huh. Use it at home. You can see these now. We're sort of reviewing them.
Along
wow.
with you.
Yeah, along with you. Yeah, they're news to us.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. You know, well, I have to say, I that's not unexpected for me. I do think that it was close along. Interesting. You know what I mean? Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
a little unexpected for me, but I always go in cautiously. It's interesting that both Eileen and Kevin and Tom are educators.
Yeah, all three, yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe could speak to larger issues. Amy has been, I think, a really hard worker and has a different voice at times, and she's thoughtful and she does her homework. So it's clear that she's close in numbers.
Yeah.
I understand why she's close in numbers.
Yeah.
But the three more, they had some controversial views. I would suggest they seem to have finished well below.
Yeah. I think I know Ann and I discussing with that, is Tommy's been around so long. Sometimes but he was so impressive in the debate. Tom Markham knows his stuff. Now that we've got the numbers, we can, speak a little more to who everybody is and that stuff. I mean, if you watch that debate, Tom just knows his stuff.
Yeah, very
even
prepared.
And I also think that the thing I like about Markham is that if he's not going to denigrate you if you oppose what he's doing.
No.
It's
He's
not
very
just
humble.
it's not just so much he's a gentleman. I think he understands that this has to be taken into consideration to do that, which is starting to not be the trend in politics these days. So. Yeah, Fontanella was a strong candidate. I mean,
he was very impressive.
Yeah, he really was, and
And I wonder if, with the high school coming up, that voters thought someone like Tom needs to be an anchor. That someone who's seen
long experience
with
in
a
the
lot
school
of
community.
experience, because that is a big project that cannot.
Tommy Markham, you mean?
Tommy Markham.
Yeah, okay.
You can't.
Yeah.
You need someone with that kind of history of the system.
Yeah, and then two educators.
Two educators,
both Eileen and Kevin, and I think that
and parents, educators and parents,
exactly.
which is a nice mix.
Yeah.
Kevin. Sorry, I was calling him Tom. Yeah. Sorry. Hey. Yeah. No, they were both. They were. He was impressive.
Yep.
Fontanella was impressive during the debate. He was. Really articulate, and he expressed, he drew on his experience about what happened in another school system, but he lives here now, and this is his school system.
Right.
In turn, that was pretty cool.
Yep.
Yeah, but everybody did pretty well. When you think about it, there can be
You might have disagreed with some of the stuff that Alex Makarowicz, Carmen Sorrentino, or Greg Spry, the three lower, said, but kudos, they threw their hat in the ring.
Exactly.
I will never suggest that it's a hard thing to do, to put yourself out there, to trying to sell yourself and get people to know who you are. Yeah. So I respect the fact that they stepped up.
Yeah, and I do think it's important that they provided a voice, for certain perspectives in town, which was important. And they even informed me. I actually think Alex, when she was talking about the mask debate, she drew on her experience with her two children, where one for medical reasons, should not be wearing a mask versus the other. And that actually is incredibly informative for me, because I understand that it's more than just how in society we're seeing it as a political debate. Yeah. This is actually real for parents.
Personal.
And I appreciate the fact that she drew on that.
When that stuck.
That was incredibly effective.
That was it was so heartfelt, and it was so on the street informed, if you will. That was when she was talking about that, I was like, whoa.
Yeah,
and people can see that. People can see the sincerity.
Yeah,
and then when you're talking about something, so I just really appreciate. I agree. Appreciate that point of view.
So that's interesting. That's an interesting result there.
Yeah.
You guys got any other numbers in there? They're not listening to me in the control room. Oh, here we go.
Oh, look at Bob Vincent, who
wow.
was not confident, but go Bob, right behind Jonathan Shines.
I think Bob was confident. I think he didn't want to jinx himself.
Well,
that's what I kept thinking. I was like, Bob, stop. Will you come on?
Oh, and Jonathan, wonderful colleague.
Led the ticket. Not by much, though.
No.
Yeah.
Wow, that's pretty interesting. Yeah, Bob Vincent, he worked like crazy.
And then Kate Dolan and Mike McLean, much closer than Mike to the next candidate.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah. Huh.
That is interesting.
I was with you. I thought, I say this, how do I say this delicately? I thought the woman candidate would, not that anyone should decide anything ever on that.
No, but sometimes if candidates are equal, I might throw a little to the female candidate.
There's
nothing wrong with that.
No, I understand, Wow, those numbers are interesting, huh?
I'll say for Jonathan and Bob, they worked so hard.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
were door knocking. They were reaching out to people. They were updating on ideas. So they earned every one of those votes.
Yeah, absolutely.
I found the most refreshing answer in the debate was when Bob, Vincent, when they asked him about free MBTA, and he stopped and he said, I don't have an answer. I have not researched that
Hi.
enough to get in. Hey, hi.
I don't think we've met. Kate. We haven't met.
Katie
maybe a
Dolan.
little-
Yeah.
But welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And thanks for
And what a
coming
race.
down.
Thanks
I
for
know.
coming
Oh,
down.
thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, of
Yeah.
course.
But not everyone does. So
Oh,
I give
no.
you
No,
tons
right.
of
Yeah, and
kudos
thanks
for this.
Oh.
Yeah, thanks for coming. And thanks.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you can run again.
Yeah.
That's
that's a
close.
great- that's
right.
huge
Did I just
numbers.
say that? Yeah. There you go. Yeah, why not?
No, absolutely.
Yeah, a lot
That's
of people
great
do that.
numbers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
Yep. For
Yeah,
sure.
because you guys were all, I don't know whether you heard us, since I've been doing that, okay, it's not so much that you were all the best, but it was for 4 people, they were all qualified, all smart, all committed. No, seriously. You know, I mean
Not
that.
quirky or fringy, which
Yes,
you've had sometimes.
Yeah. Not like, oh my God.
Well, that's kind of what we talked about after the debate. We were
Yes,
saying, you know,
yeah.
it was a good race.
It was a
We were-
great race.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I said right when that debate ended, I was like, whoa, this was impressive. Nobody was like espousing wacky stuff, and
And I
not
felt
that that's not always refreshing.
no.
but,
Sometimes that can be fun.
yeah,
but,
it can be fun. No, it's
in,
always
in
fun.
leaving the council after 9 years, I thought it's in great hands no matter who wins.
Right,
So
exactly.
that was a good feeling
Yeah.
to know
Exactly.
that
Yeah.
all candidates were really qualified.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I ask this every year as the first question. You can't say to serve the community. Okay, that's like, yeah, sure. Why'd you decide to run?
You know, I think I always thought that at some point, you know, I would run, that this was always, you know, in my future. And I think just to be more involved and have a voice in what goes on and give a voice to other people and represent. I kind of went at it saying I want to represent the young families. And that's I'm raising my young family
Yeah.
here. And I want that demographic to get involved and
I
have
thought
a
that
voice.
would that
So-
would have been your.
I was trying to kind
Yeah.
of model that, I guess,
Yeah.
and say like, look, you know, I'm a young mom, like
Right.
here I am, like everybody can get involved.
Yeah.
So
But I will say I
Yeah.
picked up on that. I'm a, I guess I consider myself part of a young family. Have a 20-month-old son,
on
and when
Facebook.
I watched you during the debate, I think it may have been a part of your closing when you said that. I thought like that resonated with me
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
the reality is like particularly during the pandemic, young families have sort of a different experience than other folks, and I
Exactly.
appreciated the fact that you highlighted that.
yes, for sure. So.
Okay, what was the coolest, weirdest, or funkiest thing that happened during the campaign? You got to come up with something. Like, did you knock on
He's
some
been
door
waiting
and
to
get
ask
some
that question.
weirdo? Did you? Yeah, it's always great to know that kind of stuff. You know
Well,
what?
you know, we met some characters along
Yeah,
the way,
give
for
us some,
sure,
give us
for
some.
sure. You know,
don't
I
have
think
to name names, but
I
tell us
think
about
more
them.
when we were downtown holding signs, we had some interesting interactions with some people that I don't know if they lived in Wakefield or not, or they were just
yeah.
wandering by, but
Right.
you know, felt compelled to share their story
Strike
with
up a
us.
conversation.
Yeah. So that was interesting, but you know,
Yes, I will.
it was a good experience overall. It was overall very positive.
Good.
Yeah.
So
Nice.
Excellent.
Yeah, and I think that when I started volunteering in the Board of Health, I had toddlers. So I had young children myself, and then they were a little bit in middle. First, I guess it's still at the Walton when I was the town councilor. But it's good for young mothers, young voices to come up. The trick is getting our friends to vote.
yes,
Right?
yes.
So I mean, so many of my friends love them, but
They're not
they're
out
not
there
at the
voting.
polls. And so I think that's the trick. Like, how do you?
How do you get people out
How
there?
do
And
you
I think
get-
that's the other thing too that I
Yeah.
tried to talk up a lot during my campaign. Like it's
Right.
really important,
So important.
to get out there and vote, and that's always been something that's important to me.
Right.
You know, I posted a picture of myself last year voting, and I was like, "This was a pandemic. I had an infant,
Yeah.
and like here I am, like I'm out here. So
Right.
like you know, you can take
You
10
can do it
minutes
too.
out of your day to come out and vote.
Yeah.
So
I love how upbeat you are and you lost. This is great.
you know,
No, I mean that. I mean, you know,
it's-
this is great. Yeah, I mean, that's really.
would-
But those numbers aren't.
I would
Those
like
are great
to have
numbers.
said-
Okay,
you know,
gotta
that
give me
I
a minute here.
won,
I have
but-
to read these numbers.
okay.
For the town council results, they're yelling at me here.
Oh.
Jonathan Chines, 2,254. Katie Dolan, right here, 1,650. Mike McLean, 1,824, and Bob Vincent, 2,239. How was that? All right. No, they would. You need to read them in case somebody's.
Just tuning in.
Yeah. Okay. Now I need to read school committee. Colleran had 1,750. Fontanella, 1,820. McCarowitz, 495. Markham, 1,822. Sorrentino, 718. Spry, 918. Amy Wall, 1,431. I just want to read those for anyone who was, was listening and not watching.
Kate,
Okay.
your numbers suggest throw your hat in the
Yeah.
ring somewhere. I mean,
Yeah.
those were great numbers
Yeah,
for
those
first
are.
time
Thank
Right.
you.
Yeah.
someone who ran who hadn't been as involved across the town.
Exactly.
So I think that's great.
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it was, like I said, it was good. I'm
Yeah, I
glad
would
that
not be.
did it.
I would not be
Yeah.
discouraged. I would not be discouraged
Not at all. Not at all.
No.
You haven't seen the
And,
last of me.
That's great.
Good.
Yeah,
That's great. I
absolutely,
like that.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Some young women.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
it's important.
Well, anyway,
Awesome.
congratulations.
Thank
you.
Congratulations on not winning. But anyway, it was great.
No.
You know,
Through the process and
no
experience.
kidding.
That's
Exactly.
important.
And
Yeah.
that, look at
Exactly.
that.
That's
That's
a great
not
show.
bad at all.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I
You
said. I
know?
think I can feel good about that.
You should
so.
Make
feel
your
good about
friends who didn't vote feel bad about you, and you got like 200 more votes. And then,
Exactly.
be like, right, exactly.
This is what I say. Like local elections are decided by such a small margin.
Oh,
It's so
yes.
important.
Yes.
Literally
So-
every single vote counts.
Every
and I
vote
actually
counts.
think we were talking about social media earlier. I actually did go to her election page, and you did talk about that. You highlighted the fact that there was one election recently where the difference was like maybe 20 or 25 votes. Like that is key. And it's very effective.
Yeah.
You only won by 25 once, didn't you?
I think less than that.
Oh yeah.
I think I was number 3
Yeah.
2 times.
Yeah,
running.
that was the election that I
like
referenced.
10
The one
votes.
Yeah.
like 3
Yes.
years,
ago. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
I just squeaked
It's very
into that.
close. Very
Yeah.
close.
It's like, ooh, whoa.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's important to
thank
get
you.
people
Yeah,
out.
well, thank
Absolutely,
you.
Kate. Thanks
Yeah,
so much for
thank
coming
you.
down.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. That was great. That was great.
Thumbs up.
That was
Yeah.
no kidding.
what?
Yeah, that was.
Not
You're
not
right.
a
We-
lot of folks who don't win
Yeah.
come to the seat,
right.
and I give Kate huge
Yes.
Huge amount of credit.
kudos for
Absolutely.
doing that.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
props for doing that. That
And
was,
I agree.
Yeah.
Those
We have not
numbers.
seen the last of her.
No, those numbers are great numbers.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
are. So I think we've got somebody from Gas and Light. All right. I always like to see
Tom
a shoe in.
Betcher.
Oh, Tom. Yeah. Oh, Tom wants some screen time. Come on down. man. Yeah. Well, the first time you had a contest, remember?
I did.
Yes.
Yes.
This was a much harder race.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
kidding.
Got my signatures. Hand them in. Thank you very much. You win. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. So what is in store for Gas and Light?
So I want to just say thank you to everyone for their votes, even though uncontested. But look forward to continuing serving for the next 3 years. I just want to continue the good work that Gas and Light has been doing. From the energy efficiency rates or energy efficiency programs that we have now expanded. Some of the things like the green rate, which is if you want to make your entire portfolio that you consume in your home non-emitting, you can do so by having an extra charge. Some of the things like the tree program, the educational stuff that Gas and Light has done has just been fantastic. So they do 3 series every year around education, solar panels, heat pumps, all those types of things. And just the infrastructure, making sure the lights turn on and the heat turns on when you call for it.
Yeah, I think we discussed this when you first ran your whole platform. You've brought let me pick the right word. You've brought a progressive and enlightened ideas. You have.
Thank you.
And the other thing we talked about when you were here last time, or maybe it was, I forget, you and I had this conversation, but we are unique to
Very.
have our own
Right.
Gas and Light. It's
Yeah.
it's just it's an amazing little thing. We're not a big town, but it's very cool.
It is.
If that's the accurate word, very cool.
It is. There are 41 municipal gas and light plants, and we're even more unique. There's only 4 in the entire state that have their own gas service.
Oh, wow.
So the talent that we have, and being on the board for the last 3 years just has exposed even more to me at how great the talent is there. The folks that work for Gas and Light are very passionate about their work, and we don't lose power very frequently, and when we do,
It's on right away.
It's
20 minutes.
It's back on right away.
Yeah,
20,
I love that.
20 minutes, 30 minutes, and it's
I know,
just.
that's what we're all talking about, but that's what happens.
I've noticed that.
You know, something will happen on my street. I go out like boom, back up right away.
And that is, a tribute to a lot of things that the board helps enable, but just the folks that work for Gas and Light, the infrastructure that they have in place, the skill sets that they have, the resiliency and redundancy that they've built into the system, which I'm just happy to continue to enable them to do their work and do that.
Yeah.
So
That was great.
we are very fortunate to have Gas and Light, and I'm very happy to be on the board and help.
Yeah, it's very cool the stuff they do too. It's all of the things you mentioned are it might be the size that allows those things to happen. So you're not fighting a whole big
Correct.
force,
Yeah.
if you will.
Yeah, it's just we have all those resources within our borders.
Right.
Right.
So the folks,
That's what I meant.
Yeah. So, and it's just
You put it much better.
You also have members of the Gas and Light Department who live in town.
Exactly,
Who are
yeah.
incredibly vested in
Yes.
making
Absolutely.
their neighbors feel
The
safe.
yeah.
So if they're home, they're going to go out and fix something.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
And it's
we're so lucky.
Yeah,
we are very lucky to have that here.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
cool. Hey, so thanks for stopping down.
Thank you
so
for
much,
having us.
Tom.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right.
congratulations.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Have a good
Tom.
night.
Okay. Bye-bye. Okay. And now, Kevin Fontanella.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so, all right. Oh,
Hi, Kevin.
hi, Kevin. Hi. You dressed also, huh?
Apologize.
Oh, no, do not. We're making,
No. Standing out in the rain all
No,
day. As
everyone
Amy
take-
Wall
Do you want
pointed
to take
out.
my jacket off?
Not
and
at all.
show my sweatshirt?
You
Which
want to
is-
say, I'm
You look
digging the
great.
hoodie.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
all right,
sorry,
hey, well,
so-
congratulations. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. So what are your thoughts?
I admit to being a coward. I was probably not going to come here if I lost, but then I saw the results and I was like, I'll come down. So, so I'll be.
It's always easier, isn't it?
Yeah. So I'll admit to. Yeah. I'll admit to that. No, I'm surprised. I did not think. Thank you very much to the voters. I am shocked that I got that many votes.
Oh, please.
And thank you.
I thought you were in.
You thought I was in.
I thought you were in.
I did.
Yeah, I
I
thought
did
you
too.
were in.
I
You
didn't
were,
question it.
you were impressive
Really?
during
I
the
put you
debate.
up there.
Yeah.
And I think you brought a broad understanding of education. You know
Yes.
what I mean? You were during the debate, and the things that I've read that folks wrote for you or to support you and stuff is it wasn't just like, oh, I'm going to do this. You had more of a sort of a grasp of, well, obviously because that's what you do. So that, yeah, I think that was really impressive. And, you said, okay, so I always ask this question, and
Sure.
you can't say to serve the community,
Yeah.
okay? Why'd you do this?
Why did I do it? Well, I have 2 kids in elementary school at the Dole Bear, so obviously I want to make sure that the school system is going to be in good stead, so obviously there's a selfish interest in keeping the schools good and improving the school system. And yeah, I mean, I was honestly approached like 4 years ago. Like one of my neighbors said, you should run for school committee. You're a teacher. You seem like a smart guy, and you should run. And I said, no, I'm busy. I've got a lot of responsibilities. Now my kids are a little bit older, and I thought it was a good time to throw my hat in the ring.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
I'm sorry, am I supposed to look there?
No, you can look.
No,
yeah.
no,
you
listen,
look at
yeah,
us.
yeah.
I'm looking at Bill. I'm looking at Bill.
Yeah, look at Bill.
Look,
it's just-
1820.
Yeah,
No,
those are great numbers.
Tarae's got to get in because they're telling me that I'm talking too much. Shocking.
Get in for what?
No, I don't know. Just ask some questions here.
It's interesting
yeah.
that the three educators topped it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With Tom, yourself, and Eileen. I think the voters are paying attention, and they realized that the schools are going into an important phase in building the high school. So,
Yeah.
I think that's a smart
Like,
vote.
yeah, I mean, I think like not even in Wakefield, I think statewide, nationwide, I think that, I mean, our school system is in a little bit of a tough spot right now after COVID. And I
Yep.
think that, the work that we have to do to kind of address all the learning loss we've already had.
Yep.
And I've been saying this to voters like the entire time. I think that there's a tendency to put our head in the sand, try to pretend like none of this stuff happened. And we basically had to say, no, this stuff happened. And if our kids are 5 months behind, 6 months behind, whatever the average is, we gotta kind of meet that challenge and say, no, we gotta go. We can't just, try to be nice and pretend it didn't happen.
Right.
We gotta address what, the learning loss was and put stuff in place to
Absolutely.
hopefully overcome it. And that's what I'll
I think
try.
that resonates
try to do.
to the voters.
Yeah, no,
That kind of
absolutely.
message.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. Learning loss is a big deal.
FinCom 'em, school budget.
I don't really have a school budget really.
Let's go.
One
One
of the points what I wanted to highlight that resonated with me from at least what you were discussing in debate was the point that you made, I think, towards the end, where you said you want to build a sense, rebuild a sense of trust between the citizens and the school committee. And I think that this is not just happening in Wakefield. We're seeing this across the country. There's a sense of like distrusting school leadership. And so I was drawn to the fact that you mentioned that. And I was wondering if you can speak more to, how do you see yourself being a person that can bring that trust to the system? Because it is there.
Yeah, I think that, well,
Yeah, I know it's a tough question.
what can I say to not get in trouble? So I think a big issue with trust in general between the public sphere and citizenry across the country is, I think a lot of us have really forgotten how to talk to each other
Yes.
and with each other. And I'll be perfectly honest, I've never been on social media in my life until this campaign because people said I had no shot of winning
Yep.
at all unless I got on it. So I actually have a person who I'm sorry, I'll say his name, Kevin York. He actually operated my Facebook page. I really don't do it. I'm actually going to ask if I can delete it after tonight, which might not be possible because,
Yes, you can.
I mean, can I be on school committee and delete it? Well, then I'll
Yes,
definitely.
sure you
So
can.
that'd be great. That'd be great.
You don't need to have a Facebook
So,
page.
but I really, and I truly believe this, and I could be wrong. I really think that the problem is, like, people always tell me, oh my gosh, this person said this and this, and I'm always like, well, if you talk to people face to face,
That is true.
I mean,
Right.
It's a different conversation.
it's people don't have
Yeah.
people would never like say these things,
Right.
Yeah.
and I think that one thing that I think is really important for trust is to really facilitate conversations so people actually talk like with each other and
Absolutely.
like not just
Yeah.
like at into
Yeah.
the blank void. And I know it's like I'm 40, I'm kind of old and like old school, but I just really think that that's a big part of it.
Yep.
I don't want to say technology is to blame. There's other things as well to blame for it. But in terms of trust, I just want everyone to know, I mean, I receive email, and I really will respond to email, to phone calls,
Yep.
like for, concerns, that, voters have with the school system. But yeah, I really think if we stop partaking in this, in that kind of conversation.
Anonymous attacks.
And actually,
Yeah, I agree.
not even
I agree.
anonymous. I think,
Yeah.
I have two of my best friends are, have, political views that, sometimes I agree with, sometimes I don't agree with. And we hash it out. But then even on a text stream, even if you're texting, all of a sudden someone says something, it's like, well, what do you really mean by that? Like, what do you think about it? And then I'm just like, dude, call me.
Right.
Yeah.
And then you talk, and all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah,
That's right.
Yeah.
this makes
Oh, right,
sense.
we have someone
And
on
it's
the
like
school
it-
committee that calls their friends dude. This is great.
Yeah,
This
see,
is
that's
great.
why. Yeah, that's why.
Yeah.
I probably should.
Okay, quick
be
before we
yourself.
kick you out of here.
Yeah.
What was the funniest or most unique or different moment during the campaign? Come on, something cool.
Wow.
Oh, say it.
Okay, so I was doing door-to-door knocking, and you get to have great conversations with a bunch of different people, and there was one person. Man, can I get in trouble for that? No.
Yeah, go ahead,
Okay.
go ahead. Yeah, you're already elected. There's nothing you can do about it.
This is easy for you.
No one ever runs against me.
I know. This is.
Plus, I don't care.
Right. Okay. So we ended up talking about CRT, and he was very
Yeah.
emotional about it. And we ended up talking about like Marxism, and I was like, I'm a history teacher. I'm teaching Marxism right now. Like because we're in world. I'm not.
You're not indoctrinating.
Yeah.
You're-
I'm not yet. No, but we're
Right.
actually talking about in world history, talking
Yeah.
about the promises, and we actually had a great like historical conversation, which is like something that would never ever happen
that's
in
cool.
real
Yeah.
life.
Yeah.
Like there's no way, but we actually had this great conversation, and I took a lot out of it, and I hopefully he took a lot out of
yeah.
it. So I don't know if that's funny or
No, but that's great.
whatever.
No, that's interesting.
But and one thing I have said, and this isn't a lie, I'm not even saying I've actually told this to like everyone that's asked, like what's been good, what's been fun about this, and honestly, the best part of this has really been doing door to doors and just like talking to people,
yeah.
and it's great because you have some people that are like, yeah, I don't agree with that, and I'm like, yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, but at least, even
Right.
having that conversation
Yeah.
is actually like, oh yeah, there's hope. There's hope.
Yeah.
Good.
You know.
Yeah.
That's great.
Hey, well, thanks and
Thanks for
congratulations.
coming
Oh,
down.
Yeah, we're
thank you.
getting
I
out.
appreciate it.
Yeah.
You kicked me out.
They got a line out there,
Yeah.
you know?
All right. Thank you.
Awesome.
Okay, thanks,
Congratulations,
Kevin.
Kevin.
Yeah. Mike McLean on deck. Here he goes. Doesn't anyone wear a suit anymore when they run?
Don't say dude. Well, it's been pouring rain.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Hi, Mike.
Yeah.
How are you?
Hey.
Congratulations.
Mike, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Yeah. That'll make me stretch.
I'll come over to this.
Pleasure to meet you.
Hi, it's Rich.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you.
So, Mike, congratulations.
Congrats.
Wow.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Kind of surprised.
Yeah.
No,
kinda surprised?
I wasn't surprised at all.
A little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. I thought it was going to be close.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be close. Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
virtually certain it would
Yeah.
be close.
But as I said before, and after the debate, 4 qualified candidates.
Yeah.
It was
Right.
it was refreshing.
and all
it was
good people.
refreshing.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it was very, we were all very friendly with each other,
Mhm.
helpful
Yeah,
with each other.
that was
Yeah.
apparent. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was pretty cool.
Mhm.
Okay, don't say to serve the community. Why'd you run? Because you ran for that short seat.
Yeah, it's the truth. I mean, don't take 2 weeks off around Christmas
Yeah.
and start thinking, well, maybe it'd be good to have 2 names on the ballot.
Yeah.
It was that simple, and I didn't ask anybody, including my wife, and who was the hardest signature to get on the papers, on the nomination papers. And then once you put in, then you're part of it, right?
Yeah.
And then you're part of the race, and managed to squeak got by on that one, and then after 9 weeks serving with the board, and congratulations on your retirement.
Thank you.
And you're going to get away from Facebook.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
Retirement. Put her out to
She was
pasture.
how many decades,
Yeah.
years. But yeah, we and then I did run a pretty quiet campaign. It was old fashioned. I self-funded. I spent $799.45, and had just dear friend cards and a running shirt that I ran around the lake in,
There you go.
and just word of mouth. So I didn't know how that would work out. And I think it's refreshing that you can run an old fashioned campaign and still get on a board
Yeah.
in
Yeah,
town.
absolutely.
I think it helped to be a new face, but on the board, so people could see.
I like the new face part.
Yeah. You were a new
Not
face
feeling so new
for
a
town
face.
council, though. So
Right,
to have a
right.
new face
Right.
and to show up, having done your homework, having researched, asking thoughtful questions, that
Yeah.
resonates with people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah,
What do you want to do with the ARPA funds?
I want to work it out with the board, and with the town administrator, and hopefully come to some agreements on that. I have advocated a bit for can we use some of that for senior housing, and you know how it is, nothing's simple, and there are going to be a lot of needs and a lot of people wanting to
Right.
use those funds in different places, but I look at the composition of the board, and I think it's going to be it'll be a team effort to figure
Good.
out what the best use of those funds are.
Yeah.
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 Good. Good.
What about FinCom? You had to deal with these guys?
No, I mean, I came in after all the work was done on that special, and just got to approve the budgets, and but it seemed like everything was in pretty good order this year. We the budgets were all in great shape, and we didn't have any serious debate about them because you guys had done all the work.
Yeah.
And the heads, I'm sorry, go ahead, Trey.
No, the only thing I was going to say is I think you also did an effective job of talking about, the development in town and why we need to, I think the way you put it was, pump the brakes a little bit, and be mindful of how we're growing in town, because I mean that's been a hot button issue that people have been talking about for years, and I do think it's important that you highlighted that. I thought, what I recall several times during the debate, that was quite resonated with voters.
Yeah, and I wasn't doing that for politics. That's part of what woke me up
Exactly.
to come back after that I was active in
Yeah.
a number of ways
Yeah.
many years
Absolutely.
ago. And I figured I had a term left in me if I could get it, and maybe be a part of pumping those brakes, or
Absolutely.
and there's a lot we're gonna have to deal with. We just got a presentation last night on this new 40A, and
Yes.
so now we've got that kind of playing with the 40B and all the other development that we've done, maybe not
Really interesting.
getting the adequate credit that we think as a community we should
Yeah.
get for that.
Yep.
So, it's our options seem to be getting squeezed a bit.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's a concern.
Yeah.
That's something we're gonna have to work on.
Most interesting, funny, or weird thing that happened on the campaign?
I think the most interesting thing to me was that, I'll talk to anybody, I'll meet with anybody, and I have met with some people in their homes where it became pretty clear that we perhaps had different ideologies on various issues. And just in the last week or two, I've gotten Facebook, which I wish I've avoided it for so many years, but now I'm on it. And I got some very nice messages from people saying, despite our differences, I'm going to support you.
Yeah, that's nice.
That's always refreshing. Isn't
It was,
Yeah.
and I think, we can work together.
Yeah.
I think we can. I think we can,
Yeah.
reach across the divides, and
Absolutely.
I think that's been happening in a lot of places.
Absolutely.
Like when you look at, the HRC reaching out to the veterans and people just trying to reach compromise.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good point.
Yeah, I'd rather be opening doors than closing,
Yeah,
basically.
nice. Hey, well, congratulations.
Thank
And
you.
thank you very much for coming down.
Yeah, it's great to see
Absolutely.
all of
Yeah.
you.
Congratulations
Yeah,
again.
and I want to thank everybody I ran against, against,
Yeah.
including Katie. I
Yeah.
feel badly that we didn't have 4 spots.
Right.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Right.
I don't think she's done, though. I think
Yeah.
we
No.
haven't,
Oh,
not the
no,
last we've
she's
heard
not
from her.
done.
No.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I get the sense.
Exactly.
Good.
She'll be back.
Yeah.
Well, thank
Okay.
you all.
Thanks,
All
Mike.
right. Thanks,
All
Mike.
right, have a good night now.
Congratulations.
Thanks, Mike. Who do we have next in line on the hit parade here? Who do we got?
Oh, hey.
Oh. Hey.
How are you?
Hi.
Congratulations.
Yeah, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Congrats. Yes.
Yeah. It was nice. So, wow. Are you excited?
I'm very excited.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We were the three of us were noting that 3 educators
Yeah.
Yeah.
got in. That's kind of interesting. As Ann said, people were paying attention.
Yeah.
I think
well,
so.
apparently,
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think so.
Yeah.
I was really excited. I got the results at home. I didn't want to be out.
Yeah.
I wanted to get the results at home with my husband and my
Right.
kids, and
Good.
it was really exciting.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Okay, I always say this, and you can't say to serve the community.
Yeah.
Why'd you run?
To serve the community.
Yeah, no, you can't say that. You gotta have some other reason.
Well, okay. So I grew up in a home where, you get involved. You get involved at the local level, you get involved at the national level, you get involved. You try to make a difference wherever you can. My dad is a Vietnam veteran, and he taught me some really great values growing up. And he always said, if you want to make a change, you have to make that change. And so it's always been in the back of my head to run. And then over the past few years, I've been thinking about it. But and my kids are young. I have twin 10-year-olds and a 6-year-old. So a couple of years ago, my daughter was just a little toddler. Didn't think I could devote the time. I wanted to be able to devote the time, give 100%. And so I felt like this was the time. And
It was.
That's great.
Yeah.
What do you think that the town can do to encourage more residents to get involved and volunteer? Because we have a whole, I think, over 40 boards in town.
Yeah.
You know, get people from, you know, diverse background, diverse viewpoints to apply and also run for elected positions in town. Because I think, I agree with you, it's important to get involved, but
Yeah.
I do think that, you know, sometimes we can have some difficulty getting residents to pay attention to what's going on locally and also volunteer their time.
I personally believe change happens at the local level
Yeah.
first,
Yeah.
and then it branches out. And so people just want to see change, you know, quickly and on the big picture. And I think, you know, you have to look in your own local community to say, you know, this is where it starts, and this is where you can make the biggest difference. And I would say anyone that's thinking of getting involved in any of the local, you know,
Any
boards or whatever.
committees, yes, yep.
Sorry, my brain's a little fried today.
You've had a long day.
Any
so.
of the local boards.
I get it.
I would say, you know, it's fun.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Yeah.
You get to meet some incredible people
Right.
in the community. And I mean, I've always had fun joining boards and
Yeah.
meeting people, and
That's great.
you know, it's fun.
Yeah.
It's work,
Yeah.
but it's fun.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
It's
awesome.
important.
Yeah.
It is. Okay, weirdest, most interesting, funny thing that happened on the campaign trail?
Weirdest, most interesting.
You know, one of those, something quirky, something that's, you think, wow.
Or stands out to you, that's
Yeah,
memorable.
yeah.
I can't really
Memorable
think of
interaction, yeah.
anything.
Are you the only female on the board?
Left
Is
on
it
the
on the
school
school
committee?
committee?
I
School
can't.
committee?
I don't remember who else is left actually.
No.
Yeah.
No?
Yeah.
Kevin, Tom, you,
Yeah.
Mike Bedreau,
Yeah.
Amy Lehman.
Amy Lee.
Amy Lehman.
Yeah.
Okay.
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 Wow,
Good.
aren't you guys supposed to know?
No, I know. Sorry.
I was like
I
calculating
really
it
run,
in my head as well.
I really run
Like,
that
wait a
little
second.
get
Yeah.
together every year. That's it.
Trying to think. I don't think anything really like quirky happened. I just, I had so many people just come out in support of me that I, you know, was a little shocked by the outpouring of
Right.
support, and
It's always
so
nice.
it's not a quirky thing. It's just more of a made my heart feel good, and I felt like it solidified what I was doing and what I was running for.
The high school.
Great.
No, the new high school.
The new high
What
school.
about it?
I'm excited. I'm excited to move this forward and maintain the progress it's already made so far. I'm excited to really get involved with it because I think it's so important.
Right.
And I think I talked about it during the forum. You know, we really elevated the bar when it came to the Galvin. I mean, it's
Yes.
gorgeous.
Right.
And now I think
functional.
and functional. And
That's, yeah.
yeah, you know, like you don't
Yeah.
just even like the little things. Like, I mean, I'm going back when I graduated from Wakefield High School. You know, you're freezing in the English hallway, and then you're hot in the history because that's on the third floor and it's hot there, and then you know, and now like my sister was just telling me that like her daughter can't even do some labs. In some of the classes, so I mean, just having a functional
Oh,
high school,
absolutely.
a physical functional high school
Yeah.
for both our students and our teachers, like to be able to have all of that. I mean, it's going to be incredible. So
Yeah.
I'm really excited for it.
That's
Yeah.
Hey, well, congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations.
Thanks for coming down.
Yeah, of
That's
course.
awesome.
Thank you
Yeah.
guys.
Great job.
Bye.
Okay.
I love that energy.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. So how you doing for your first little shot here, huh?
Yeah,
They
fun,
told me I
it's
was
fun.
talking too much.
Oh, really?
Tarae asked better questions. Why don't you shut up and let him say something?
Hey, Bob.
Hey, Bob.
Oh, wait, in case I win. Oh, my God.
How do you
I
feel?
know, he's
I know it's been a
top
long
ticket.
road. Congratulations. You feel tired?
I had a broken hand.
Congratulations. Oh, stop whining about the hand, will you? Just because you can't play hoop. So.
I can't play softball, that's the biggest thing.
Oh, okay, that's right. Changing seasons, but you're still, yeah. Well, hey, congratulations
Thank you very much.
for the man who knocked on 1,000 or more doors.
I did knock on 1,000 doors.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we know. We know.
May I say
great.
something real quick, though?
Sure.
Yeah.
I moved here in 2014, and there's two people that are no longer with us that were real mentors to me. The first one was Bill Chetwood. Bill was the first
Such a
chair
good
of the
man.
Human Rights Commission,
Yeah.
and I was the first vice chair of the Human Rights Commission. And he was such a kind and gentle soul.
Great
Such a
guy.
lovely
And
man.
Great
I
guy.
so thoroughly enjoyed
Such a lovely
working
man.
with him. And I spent 26 years in the military, so I hadn't lived in one location as a hometown for a long time. And Bill taught me the value of serving a community. And
That's great.
he really took me under his wing, and I appreciate what he did for me. And the second person that was a real mentor to me was Peter May.
Yeah.
And I helped Peter in his campaign in 2019, and I was out in Minnesota visiting my daughter, and he called me the night of the election. So 3 years ago, this time frame, he called me in Minneapolis to thank me for the contributions I made to his campaign, as far as taking him door knocking
Sure.
and things like that. And during the conversation, he encouraged me to run for office again, and he said, Bob, I would really like to serve with you someday on the town council. And unfortunately, I'll never have the opportunity to serve with him on town council, but I know that I hope to honor his memory
Oh, I'm sure you
by
will.
serving
Yeah.
as he did
Yeah.
in terms of serving the
He
citizens
was
of
great to
Wakefield.
serve with.
Well, you've got a tough road, because he had one of the driest wry wits of anyone that I've met in this town in politics. I knew him, and he was kind of a funny. But then the FinCom chairman and the Board of Selectmen, or now Town Council chairman, and the moderator get together and pick the members of FinCom. And during that process, I got to know a whole nother level of Peter May, and he was
It's fun.
hysterical. So I started to give Steve Mayo and him this dog park thing, and I was just like, a dog park, and he was so passionate about it,
Very much
but
so.
he was just giving it right back to me.
Yeah.
And so I said, get out of here. And I said, where's it going to be? I said, that piece of property, it's like this right near Dunkin' Donuts. I thought there'd be some pastoral field where dogs would be running and all this kind of stuff. So I was riding my bike back one day. Like, it had been open for like 6 or 8 months, and he's standing there. And so I always get off and cross. That's a dangerous intersection there, you know what I mean? So
Yes.
I'm walking my bike up. There's got to be 25 or 30 dogs
Oh, yeah.
and their people in this thing. And here's what he says. He's standing by the gate, and he looks at me, and goes, see? As only he
Yes.
could. A one-word
That's awesome.
put down. He goes,
Yes.
see? I'm like, oh, I lost it. I just cracked
Yes.
up. So, yeah, it's, we miss him. We miss him, so. Yeah, okay, so, I don't think there's any part of your position that anybody doesn't know. And that's, I mean that as a tribute to you. You were, your letters to the item, your position papers, and you had it out there, what Bob Vincent thinks, who Bob Vincent is, and what he wants to have happen. I mean that. You had a really, you put it all out there, you know what I mean? And as I was saying earlier, before you got here, one of my favorite answers in any debate that I've moderated in this town was when you said, I don't know. It was so refreshing when you were asked about free MBTA.
I remember that, yes.
Oh,
Yeah, it was great, because I was like, oh my God, this is so refreshing.
Right.
Yeah.
You said, I haven't done enough research, and you research, judge.
Absolutely.
You research, judge, and it was so interesting. And then I just felt that was so refreshing, and I was hoping at the time that people would be impressed by that. In other words, I'm not just going to make something up
Yeah.
to get your vote.
Yep.
I haven't thought about that yet. I'll look into it, and I'll come up with something. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I really thought that was impressive.
Because I never would have ruled from the bench without having thoroughly looked
Sure.
into the issue, and I
Oh.
treated it just like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's
absolutely.
Yeah,
how
well, you
we
never,
make
you
the
never,
decisions.
you never give an opening argument, or right? If it's yeah.
Yeah.
4 lawyers sitting right here, imagine.
May I
I
just
know.
tell
It's
you,
great. 4 lawyers.
May I tell you something else really
Sure.
quickly?
Yeah.
In February 2014, I was house hunting in Arlington. I was in Arlington, Massachusetts. I was living in Washington, D.C., and I went to Hanscom Air Force Base after house hunting for the day with my wife to look at the facilities at Hanscom, because
Yeah.
I shopped there and medical would be
Yeah.
there. And afterwards, I had to go back to Peabody, where my parents live, at Brooksby Village. And I didn't have a cell phone. I had a flip phone, but I had a map. And I looked at the map to see how I was going to drive to Peabody, and I noticed that there was a town that I had never heard of in February 2014 called Wakefield,
Yeah.
and then it had a lake.
Oh,
And I
So
got
it's
off.
the lake.
I got off the exit, And I drove down Main Street, and I think you are aware my wife's a long-term stroke survivor, so she doesn't talk all that much. And she just looked out at the passenger window, and she looked at the lake, and she was very quiet, but attentively looking at the lake. And then we got into downtown, and she turned to me and said, let's call the real estate agent and start looking in Wakefield.
Oh, that's awesome.
And 3 months later, May
Yeah.
2014, we found our house.
Oh, amazing.
And 8 years later, I'm sitting here with you as a member of the Town
That's,
Council.
that's,
Yes.
that's
That's
tremendous.
Story.
Amazing.
We're,
Great story.
Wakefield's lucky to
Yeah.
have you, Bob.
Yes.
Yeah, we really
So
are.
I'm,
really
I'm
mean that.
delighted and humbled by the support I had from so many people.
Yeah.
Today in the rain, the folks that wrote the letters,
Yeah.
the folks, I don't have a social media presence. I heard what you were saying before. My daughter set up my Facebook page. My daughter did not allow me to post anything for the first month of the campaign. I would text her or email her, and then she would post.
Yeah.
And then she finally allowed me to do a little bit of posting. But it was encouraging to see people respond
Sure.
on the Facebook posts.
Yeah.
And then I will shut that down tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I
Time
would
to do it.
advise.
Right at midnight.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, that's great.
amazing.
Hey, well, thank you.
Congratulations.
No, I
Town-
appreciate it.
Town's lucky to
Thanks for
have
coming
you.
down. We
I'm
appreciate it.
I'm excited. I'm tired right now, but I'm very
Yeah,
excited.
Yeah, I
good.
can imagine.
But thank you all very
Thank
much.
you.
Absolutely.
Take care.
Yeah. That's a great story.
Ted, it's a great story.
It is.
Are they
Okay.
waiting? Did I hear Mark?
I can see other people, yeah.
Yeah. We got Tommy Markham coming in. Oh.
Hey!
Oh, hey. Hey.
Congratulations.
Hey, congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations,
I thought you might be
Tom.
old news. I'm glad you're not. Yeah, well, I can say that to you. You know, come on. Yeah, right, I was going to say. It was-
Honestly, to be an incumbent coming out of the pandemic when
Right.
parents were angry, everyone was angry, I thought I was worried, only because of sometimes
Yes.
that backlash.
Yeah.
Right. And I thought,
So I think it's wonderful.
but you knocked it out of the park in the debate. You
Oh,
really
thank
did.
you.
Yeah,
Thank
well,
you.
no,
That's
you
good.
were so articulate and so, and what we were
Very
saying
genuine and trustworthy. I mean,
Yeah.
trustworthy. Like that was a big thing. Like when you speak, it's very clear that you understand the concepts, you understand the complexity of the issues, but you also convey a sense of someone who's going to, think, is going to be willing to engage with fellow members of the board and, come to a prudent decision, not just come in with a preconceived position. That's what I
Yeah.
appreciate about you.
We were talking about
appreciate that.
earlier before you got here that you listen. You listen. You may
I
not
do.
agree, but you
Exactly.
listen. And
Exactly.
okay, if I don't agree with you, but if I can take this part of it, I watched you the other night. I had to because I was here.
Here.
Yeah, right. Thanks.
You don't watch
When
everything.
you tried to help me out when I screwed that one thing up, Mr.
I'm
Markham.
trying to help you out.
Yeah. So how long have you been on the board? 105 years?
No. So I was elected in 2010.
Oh,
I
okay.
believe we were coterminous, were we not? Were you not first elected in 2010?
No, I just finished my 9.
Oh, so
No,
2000
9.
So 2013?
Yeah, yeah.
okay.
I was on the board of
'Cause
health back
we've
then.
been in the same year.
We've been in the same
yeah,
cycle. That's
same
right.
cycle,
That's
yeah.
right.
Yeah, and I've been to many election parties with you. Didn't we shut down somebody's house last time? Is that
Yeah,
right?
we
No,
probably,
they asked us
we
to
probably
leave.
did.
Oh, they did.
They asked
We've
us to
been-
leave. It was the three
We've
of
been
us.
thrown out of many places,
They asked
actually.
the three of us to
We were
leave.
there
I'm
very
thinking whose
late.
house that was.
I
was
forgot
like,
about that. I remember this
Yeah,
house.
okay. Could you guys
Yeah,
go
that's
now?
fine.
Well, we don't want to go right
That
now.
was Aunt Anna's house, by the way.
Okay, thank you for reminding me of that.
Town
Yes,
Councilor.
okay.
So 3 educators. I think that's fascinating. Not fascinating, but I think it's
Yeah.
very interesting.
Well, one of the things that I hope, in at least with my campaign effort was we honed a message, and a message of these are challenging times, and diverse points of view are important around the
Right.
table, but so is experience.
Yeah.
That whether it's post-pandemic and learning loss and social emotional needs and interventions.
New high school, I think, very
yeah,
much.
yeah. Our new high school, we're just at the beginnings of negotiating, employee our union contracts.
Oh, yes.
So, and there's a lot to do. So I'd like to think that we honed, sort of that message of experience, of effectiveness, of openness to. I have really worked hard over the years to be someone who comes prepared to meetings, who does my background, my research, are very much open to listening to ideas and suggestions. And then, honestly, not timid about representing what I think is in the best interest of the kids. Really, I mean, that's the bottom line.
Right.
Exactly.
Teaching and learning is what we do. We're not. I don't believe the school committee's constituency. First and foremost, the school committee's constituency are our students and families.
Yes.
Which is why we report to and work with the finance committee and the
Right.
town council and ultimately, town meeting. We don't have that autonomy over access to money,
Absolutely.
and we shouldn't.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, our constituency isn't the same as the
Yep.
town councils or as the finance
That's right.
committees or town halls.
Yeah.
So I'm very honored and humbled to be reelected, and going to pledge to work really hard for 3 more years.
Weirdest thing that happened on this campaign? Or most interesting or funny? Come on, you gotta have something. Come on, you can come up with
He's probably
something.
seen a lot
I
over
could
the
probably
years.
come up with something. I'm not
Yeah,
sure.
you just
can't say
I'm not
that
sure I
you
can
wanna
say
say
it in this forum. So one of the things that I think was most interesting is the fact that there were 7 candidates for 3 positions. I think that is very uncommon. I also think it was good.
Yeah, oh, it was
Yeah.
great.
I think
So do I.
it was
It was
really
great.
I think it was
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
good to have the conversation, and we did. We did not, everyone that was in the race, regardless of how any of my peers have finished, regardless of how we finished, we
Yeah.
had an open, honest dialogue about
Panoply of
about
ideas
issues. Yeah.
and positions,
Yeah.
Yeah.
which came across during the debate, which gave the voters a chance to select, I think,
Right.
Yeah.
who they thought, not only what they thought or what their positions would be, could they implement it? I think that was clear in the school committee
Yeah.
race. I mean,
I agree.
Yeah, you know what I mean? It's just, I think that the folks who didn't prevail also brought to the table ideas.
They did.
Ideas that,
Sure.
well, not just ideas, but different and different.
Well, and I think this is really a race, the school committee race in particular, a little more so than the others, but in particular, this is a race about what the school community wants to be.
Yep.
Right.
A race about values, a race about what sort of institution
Yeah.
we want to make
Yeah, I
sure
think it was clear from the results.
that we operate.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
And frankly, what sort of institution that we need to make sure, doesn't,
Yeah.
come
Yeah.
about. And I think it's a real, values-based races are good.
Yeah.
Those are good
All right,
contests.
all right,
It's
we're
an
gonna
honest
kick you
dialogue.
out of here.
Well, I've been
You
kicked out
won.
of better places.
No, public kitchen, right?
Yeah.
Okay, public
All right.
kitchen. Make sure they don't close it till
That's
we get
awesome.
there, so we can all be kicked out together.
I'll be kicked out at the
Again,
same
we'll
time.
keep
Yeah.
that tradition.
Well,
right?
thank you very
We've
much.
been dragging him along.
Students
right?
like it.
See, that's he
I'm
doesn't
the
understand.
newbie.
That's how the new, but he got before the show started. We it's become right. He's like, oh my God. We're like, come on, come on.
Read him the rules?
Oh,
Yes,
we hooked
yes.
him in a couple times. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much.
It's
All right,
great.
Tommy.
Take care.
Great
Take
job.
care.
Thanks. Thanks.
Bye, Tom.
Good
Thanks.
night.
Yeah, that is true. For those of you at home, you're right. We've been socializing. All right.
Jonathan.
Oh.
Good evening. Oh, you bet you
Hi.
Congratulations.
Congrats.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Hi guys.
Congrats.
Hey, how'd it go? How'd
Great.
it go? Yeah. Yeah.
So great. No, I'm so thrilled to be have the chance to serve
Yeah.
for another term. Really grateful to everyone in Wakefield. I mean, I love this community. I'm so proud to raise my family here, and I'm just really excited about the work ahead for the next 3 years.
Oh, that's great.
Did you lead the ticket?
I did barely
There
though.
you
Bob,
go.
Bob did really
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
Which I think his message resonated as well. I mean,
That's
he has a really compelling story. He's an incredibly talented guy.
Yeah.
I'm excited to serve with him. I'm
Yeah.
excited to continue to serve with Mike, and really, I'm also grateful for Katie. She ran a good campaign as
Yeah.
well and brought
Yes.
some great ideas.
Yeah.
I'm sure she'll be back, and
Yes.
I
Yeah.
think Wakefield
Yeah.
will be better because of that.
That's right.
Right. You were the first person who I said right after the debate. You and I were talking. I said, "Wow,
Yeah.
this was great." In that, it was so great to hear 4 people who were bright committed, very passionate about it. It was, as Ann said, she's not going anywhere.
No.
Oh,
She'll
not
be
with those
around.
numbers, especially. And the council was in good hands no matter who won.
It was.
Yes.
I'm thrilled
Right.
with your experience that you're
Yeah.
continuing on.
Yeah.
No, and I know, Ann, it's, when you're running for the council, you're also running against people who are going to be your colleagues.
That's
and so,
right.
you
Yes.
have an interest in, you want to run against people that are smart, people that are committed,
That's right.
and people who are really invested in doing the right thing for Wakefield.
Yeah,
And
but it's
so,
easier to run against some dope.
well, yeah.
I'm kidding. I'm sorry. I just had to say you were being so altruistic.
be
there,
so
No, but
Joe.
it's,
during the
again,
Come
like,
on.
I'm their constituent as well, and
that's true.
they're my colleagues, and it's the town council works better when you have really good, committed people on
That's
it,
right.
and
Yeah.
there were no bad choices in this election.
No.
Yeah, yeah. I think what I appreciate about you, Jonathan, is that you're obviously very popular, and I of course had a lot of faith that you were going to get reelected, but you worked incredibly hard to get reelected. I many times driving down the street saw you going door to door, and I was like, I'm not going to beat my horn at him because I might startle him, but that was me this morning though who
Thank
did it. But I could see the fact that you didn't take any vote for granted, and I think that is very important, and it shows in the results. So congratulations.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
The old Tip O'Neill.
Yep.
Right.
All politics is local, and
No, the story where
Exactly.
he said to his
His neighbor, yep.
right, did you vote for me? She said, no, you didn't ask.
Yeah,
That's right.
That's right. That's
People
a
wanna be
great
asked to
story.
vote,
Yeah,
yeah.
they
that
do
is
wanna
true.
and
Yeah.
I'll say, I mean, it was wonderful to actually be out, especially over the last 2 years where we've all been so isolated.
Right.
Yeah.
There have been so few opportunities to be able to engage with people face to face. It was really, I mean, there are definitely days where the last thing you want to do is go out and knock on doors, but it was actually really nice to be able to sit down or stand up and talk to
Yeah.
people and, just have those face-to-face
Right.
conversations that we haven't had. I
We
mean, it
haven't
just
had.
reminds you of, why this is so much fun and why this is such important work and,
Yeah.
why we're all driven to
Right.
do this.
Yeah,
Are you
absolutely.
sleeping in tomorrow? Or are you going to be at the Y?
I won't be at the Y.
Okay.
I unfortunately have an incredibly busy day at work tomorrow. So I was saying, I don't know that I have time to get sworn in tomorrow morning. I might have to wait until Thursday.
Yeah.
But
There you
Does
go.
that mean I'm a counselor for an extra day?
Oh man,
Oh, wow.
Just
Hey, right.
Just joking.
no, I know you want out. So.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
well, Wakefield's better for you being on the board, so.
yeah.
Thank you. And,
Absolutely.
and
Very lucky.
I just want to say as well, I know we had a little tribute to Ann
Yeah.
last night, but for folks that didn't watch the meeting, just having the chance to serve with Ann for 3 years has been incredible. And I know we're all so grateful for everything you've done for Wakefield, just the example that you've set. And just the leadership in the community.
Thank
So
you.
we'll miss you. I mean,
Thank
I'm
you.
excited to welcome Bob and
Right.
have Mike back on
Yeah.
for a full term, but we'll definitely miss you, Ann.
Thank you very much.
Okay, we're kicking you out of here.
Okay,
All right.
We going to see you later?
perhaps.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you, lovely children.
I should say for folks
Public
in the
kitchen,
audience,
right, yeah.
my boys Nate and Sam are here. They didn't want to be on camera, but
Right.
I do want to
They're
just
watching.
take the opportunity
But
to say.
they're like playing with the equipment.
They
now.
do.
I'm fascinated with that. Yeah, there you go.
But the
All right.
other thing I want to say is just we all of us who do this, I mean, this is a sacrifice for our families as well, and I'm so lucky to have an amazing wife, Maria, wonderful children,
Amazing.
my boys and my daughters, Nora
Cool.
and Lucy. My family, my parent, my father, my God was out knocking on doors almost as much as I was. So
amazing.
thank
That's
you to
great.
them as well.
That's awesome.
All right. Hey, great.
All
Okay,
right.
we'll
Good
see you in a
job,
while.
Jonathan.
Sounds good. Thank you so much.
Congratulations.
Okay, see ya.
Bye,
All
boys.
right. Guys, you want to run one of those cameras? Get out there. Yeah, let 'em- come on. All right. Well, hey, that was pretty good, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, this was great.
This was good.
Yeah, this was.
Tarae can stay next time.
Yeah. Yeah.
We'll have to see how to consult with my better half.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I'm kidding.
No. So I said to Tarae, you got to do this. He goes, I think my wife's out of town.
Oh yeah.
So I reached into my pocket. I said, "How much are sitters going for?"
Babysitter,
This I'm like, come on. It's like, yeah. He always tries to escape Ann and
Yeah.
I, and we somehow rope him into
You
doing
always
things, right? We
catch
always
him.
we
Yes.
get him roping
Yeah.
into something. Yeah, we did.
This
Yeah,
was a
so
good.
This was
a great
good.
election.
This was a good show.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so
Very
much.
fun. I
You're in.
appreciate being
You're
here.
in. You're in. That's right. We'll do that, and you're gonna have to come back anyway. Now,
Yeah.
now that you can be more opinionated.
That's right.
If that's possible. So anyway, all right.
thank you all.
Again, a WCAT. I'm a cheerleader for the right reason. This place is great. They put a lot of time and effort in. I want to thank Allie, Ryan, and the whole staff. I had Ian in my ear tonight, which was refreshing. And we have women in the studio. I had in the control room. I had to say that. So anyway, I was just throwing that out there just to cause some
We
trouble.
always do.
Yeah. All right. So anyway, thanks to WCAT. Thank you to all the candidates, all of you who ran, win, lose, or draw.
Absolutely.
Throwing your hat in the ring is, it is to serve your community. I always ask for another answer, but that's great. And thank you, Ann. Anything before we sign off?
No, just thank
Tarae?
everyone for running.
Nothing?
No, thank you. Congratulations to
Yeah.
the candidates.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much.
All right.
Thanks to
Good night.
CAT. We're going to wrap it up, boys. Is that okay? All right.
Awesome.